From ancient myths whispered under starlit skies to the grand ambitions of science fiction, humanity has always looked up at the moon and dreamed. For centuries, that dream remained just out of reach. But on July 20th, 1969, a new chapter in our history began. A chapter written not in ink, but in moondust. This is the story of Apollo 11, the mission that turned a timeless fantasy into a tangible reality. The journey to the moon began not in a rocket, but in a race. The 1960s were the height of the Cold War, and the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union was in full swing. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy challenged the nation to land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the decade was out. At the time, this goal seemed almost impossible, but NASA's engineers, scientists, and astronauts embraced the challenge with unwavering determination. After years of relentless effort, countless tests, and some heartbreaking setbacks, the moment of truth arrived. On July 16, 1969, the colossal Saturn V rocket, the most powerful machine ever built, thundered to life at the Kennedy Space Center. It carried three brave astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. As millions watched on television, the rocket ascended into the heavens, its fiery launch a symbol of human ambition and ingenuity. The spacecraft, named Columbia, successfully entered Earth's orbit before beginning its 4-day journey toward the moon. It was a long and perilous voyage filled with challenges, but the crew's resolve never wavered. Upon reaching lunar orbit, the mission entered its most critical phase. Michael Collins remained in Columbia, circling the moon alone while Armstrong and Aldrin boarded the lunar module, the Eagle, to make their descent. The final approach to the lunar surface was a moment of immense tension. Armstrong had to manually steer the Eagle to a safe landing site, all while a low fuel warning light flashed. Back on Earth, the world held its breath. Then, with just seconds of fuel to spare, Armstrong's calm voice echoed through the command center. "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." A collective sigh of relief and a roar of celebration erupted around the globe. Humanity had made it to the moon. A few hours later, the world watched with bated breath as Neil Armstrong climbed down the Eagle's ladder. As his foot touched the lunar soil, he uttered the immortal words, "That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." It was a profound statement that captured the magnitude of the moment, not just for one person, but for all of humanity. Buzz Aldrin soon joined him on the surface. Together, they spent about 2.5 hours on the moon, planting the American flag, collecting rock samples, and taking iconic photographs. The barren, dusty landscape was no longer an unattainable dream, but a place where human footsteps had been planted. Their work, guided by the mission's purpose, laid the foundation for future exploration. After their work was complete, Armstrong and Aldrin reboarded the Eagle and successfully rendezvoused with Collins in the Columbia Command Module. Their return journey to Earth was just as successful as their trip out. They splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean on July 24, 1969, to a hero's welcome. The legacy of Apollo 11 goes far beyond the moonwalk itself. It proved that with incredible courage, a shared vision, and unprecedented collaboration, humans can achieve the seemingly impossible. It inspired a generation of scientists and engineers, and sparked a new era of innovation and discovery. That giant leap for mankind wasn't just a physical step. It was a bold declaration that there are no limits to what we can accomplish when we dare to dream.